Wrestling is one of the toughest and most competitive sports. But there is a man who has been dominating this environment for years.
From the heart of Dagestan, a champion was born.
By the age of 25, Abdulrashid Sadulaev had won absolutely everything.
His name and the mat is where he belongs.
And earned the name of the strongest wrestler of our time.
At 25, he won it all, the strongest of his time.
Now, Tank knows no equal, but before he could rise to the top, he had to go a long way. Today, we will tell you how an ordinary boy from a Dagestani turned into the king of world wrestling. And many people think that after Olympics in Paris, he will transition to MMA.
Where he belongs. He belongs.
Abdulrashid was born and grew up in the south of Dagestan, in the high mountain village of Tsureb. From childhood, Sadulaev was characterized by talent and discipline, thanks to which he quickly progressed. Every day, he would rise at 6 a.m., have his first training session before school started, walk from the mountain village of Tsureb along the gorge at an angle of almost 45 degrees. Every day, he would run a few kilometers up to take an ice shower under a waterfall, and then dash downstairs, have breakfast, and go to school. After school, he would have lunch, rest a little, and go to the Tsureb Fight Gym, the only sports section in the village, for training. Abdulrashid, being the youngest son in the family, was not deprived of work according to the mountain tradition. He chopped wood and did physical work around the house. At 9 p.m. exactly, it was time to go to bed. After graduating from school, Rashid moved to Makhachkala to study and train, where he met his future mentor, Shamil Amarov. Sadulaev was the best in his village, but now he had to share the carpet with the strongest wrestlers of the Republic. He could not get further than the third round of the competition. By the age of 15, Abdulrashid was an ordinary average wrestler, of which there are thousands in Dagestan. This black streak stretched for the third year, and it came to the point that Sadulaev had a real aversion to the gym. He wanted to quit wrestling, but the coaches motivated the teenager to continue. Gradually, by blood and sweat, Rashid overcame this crisis. By the age of 18, he was already #1 in Dagestan and went to the Russian championships, where he easily navigated the net and defeated the reigning champion Shamil Kudyamagomedov in the final. Young Sadulaev became a real discovery of the tournament and earned the right to represent the national team at the 2014 World Championships in Uzbekistan. Abdulrashid came to the World Championships as a dark horse and was ready to make a name for himself. He defeated all his opponents early and made it to the final. Where he faced three-time Pan-American champion Reineris Salas. Already in the first seconds, Sadulaev held a spectacular mill and earned 6 points.
The Cuban straight away in trouble.
You see that one? The fireman carry.
The Cuban tried to provoke his young opponent, but the Dagestani fighter kept his cool and after a minute finished the fight.
The destination of gold.
Yeah.
Good defense from Salas.
2 points for... No, not after.
Rashid has won all major tournaments this year and has not lost a single match. The brutal nickname Russian Tank was fixed for his dominant fighting style. Thus, Sadulaev topped the world ranking in the category up to 86 kilograms and became the new Olympic hope of the Russian national team. But everything was just beginning. Abdulrashid finished the season perfectly, but in the harsh world of wrestling, where there is always tough competition, every year, everything has to be proven anew. Sadulaev started 2015 with the national championship and once again found no equal. Having confirmed the title of #1, he went to the European Games in Baku. In the fight for gold, Rashid met with Moldovan wrestler Peter Yanolov. Sadulaev had only a minute and a half to earn 11 points.
And score the 2 points and increase the score as well. He goes to 5-0 and he's looking good now to go for 7 and looking good to increase and looking good again. This is...
And add another gold medal to his collection.
Through his opponent.
Abdulrashid demolished everyone, but these tournaments were just rehearsals before the main start of the year, the World Championships in Las Vegas. Now Sadulaev came to the World Championship as the main favorite, and all the leading fighters were preparing for him. But the young king was determined to keep his throne. Tank once again rolled over his opponents, reaching the final with a total score of 47-2. In the first-place match, he faced Selim Yashar, a former member of the Russian national team, now competing under the Turkish flag. Sadulaev competently outplayed his experienced opponent.
Our leg just dropped onto a swing single, just let go of the leg. Oh, why? Nice whip, right back into a single leg shot. Wow, that was nice. Good technique.
And once again became the best middleweight wrestler in the world. By 2016, Rashid had won everything except the main trophy, an Olympic medal, champion of Russia, Europe, and the world. This is prestigious, but none of this compares to the Olympic Games, where the strongest athletes of the planet have been determined for 100 years. In Rio de Janeiro, Sadulaev was the youngest participant of the wrestling tournament, but everyone already realized that this young man came only for gold. At the first stage, Abdulrashid defeated the lanky Hungarian István Verebo. And in the 1-4 stage, he beat the strong Venezuelan Pedro Ceballos. In the semifinals, he faced reigning Olympic champion Sharif Sharifov, a native of the neighboring village of Sadulaeva, representing Azerbaijan. Tank left his titled opponent no chance. In the gold medal match, Abdulrashid was again confronted by Selim Yashar, a native of Ingushetia, whose real name is Kaloy Kartoyev. At the start, the fight was evenly matched, but then Tank went on the offensive.
Period. Now let's see what the Russian can make of this. More to come to. There is...
And confidently took the fight to victory.
Who get the gold. Abdulrashid Sadulaev, a double world champion, wins gold.
Sadulaev conquered the Olympic podium and became a world star of wrestling. He was on a streak of 65 consecutive victories and did not lose for the 3rd year. He was called a phenomenon and prophesied a great future, and he was still only 20 years old. When the last medal was in his collection, Rashid let himself relax. After the Olympic Games, he took a big break and completely abandoned training. For 6 months, Sadulaev did not appear in the gym and completely lost his form. The champion's vacation could have lasted longer, but personal trainer Shamil Amarov intervened and forced his ward to start training for the new season. By that time, Abdulrashid had won everything in his native weight class and decided to move up to the 97 kilogram division. Sadulaev's off-season weight of 92 kilos was clearly too small for this category, but the young fighter wanted new challenges, and soon he got them. Rashid traditionally started 2017 with the Russian Championship. He easily made his way through the tournament grid, but in the final, he was awaited by the best of the country, Vladislav Baitsev. Already in the first minute, Sadulaev missed a pass and gave away 4 points. But later, he pulled himself together and fought back. A minute before the end of the fight, Tank secured a 3-point advantage. However, the Ossetian fighter managed to reduce the score to a minimum. The last seconds were tense, where only with great difficulty Sadulaev managed to keep the numbers on the scoreboard. Rashid became a 3-time champion of Russia, but only for the final match he gave more points than at the last Olympic Games and World Championships combined. It was obvious that Sadulaev was far from being in optimal form, but he earned his right to compete at the World Championships. The World Championship in Paris has become the most anticipated tournament of recent years, all thanks to a potential showdown between two of the most dominant fighters of our time, Abdulrashid Sadulaev and Kyle Snyder. The mighty American, nicknamed Snyderman, was also young and indestructible, with a World Championship gold medal in Las Vegas and the title of Rio Olympic champion in the 97 kilogram category. Abdulrashid reached the final, but now without overt dominance. When Sadulaev and Snyder were finally on the same mat, it was immediately apparent how much bigger the American was. Snyder immediately rushed forward, but Sadulaev counterattacked.
The athleticism from both. Turns around the Russian. Has he got the 2?
In the next episode, Tank went for a ram, but Snyderman came out of the moment victorious.
For 2 of his own.
Sadulaev managed to get a further point, but later Snyder scored 2.
By Snyder.
Before the second period, the score was 3-3. After a hard-fought fight on the edge of the mat, the Russian fighter snatched a takedown.
Was it one continuous move? The referee this.
However, the American Goliath continued to win back.
But the American.
30 seconds before the end of the bout, Sadulaev was leading 5-4, but Snyder was charged to the very end.
Snyder on the attack, tries to sneak round the back for the 2.
Finishing holds. He can go when he needs to go. Snyder needs to be.
When the final whistle blew, Sadulaev collapsed and Snyder threw his hands in the air in victory. The world of the fight was divided into a before and after. Tank lost.
He creates a world.
Abdulrashid suffered the first defeat in his international adult career, and the national team did not win a single gold medal, showing the worst result in the history of Russian wrestling. After the failed World Championships, Abdulrashid realized that he had made 3 fundamental mistakes. 1. He rested too long after the Olympics. 2. Changed weight category very abruptly. 3. Tried to defeat the huge Snyder at the expense of physical strength. Now the fighter was more motivated than ever to get back on top, but Tank had a lot of work to do before getting to the rematch. As soon as Sadulaev returned from Paris, he instantly plunged into the training process and decided to temporarily drop down to the 92 kg weight class. Rashid started the new season with the Ivan Yarygin International Championship, where he confidently defeated all his opponents and finished the tournament with a total score of 36-0. Back on the winning track, he headed to the European Championships in Kaspiysk. For a total of 5 minutes, Sadulaev finished 3 opponents and reached the main match. In the final, Rashid, in a hard fight, outplayed Sharif Sharifov and in front of his home crowd, became a 3-time champion. It was time for the Russian Championship. Now, Sadulaev is ready. He again rises in the weight category up to 97 kilograms, to get a ticket to the championship of the planet in this Olympic weight. Abdulrashid confidently reached the final, where he again met Vladislav Baitsayev, who now holds the title of European champion. The wrestler from Ossetia was in great shape, but this time, Sadulaev showed his real level. The most anticipated match of the century. That was the name under which the International Wrestling Federation covered the upcoming rematch between Sadulaev and Snyder held in Budapest. Tank made it to the final with a total score of 45-3. And Snyderman came through with a score of 32-5. Since their first meeting, both have not known defeat at major tournaments, and the top two were destined to fight for the crown of the most prestigious division once again. Snyder, as before, tried to impose a power struggle, but now Sadulaev avoided the clinch and kept his distance. Kyle kept trying to put his stone hands around his opponent's neck, but that's when Abdulrashid caught him. The fighters froze in a half position, from where Tank gracefully threw the American on his back. Snyder desperately tried to break free, but Sadulaev climbed up and pinned the giant shoulder blades to the mat with a series of explosive moves. It was a touche. Rashid had been going to this match for a year, only to finish it in 1 minute. In spectacular fashion, Sadulaev rebounded from his only defeat to become the new world heavyweight champion, and his gold medal helped the national team climb to first place in the team standings and restore Russia's leading position in world wrestling. Abdulrashid had achieved what he wanted, but he wasn't going to stop there. He started the next season with a trip to the Continental Championship in Bucharest. Sadulaev didn't notice anyone on his way to the final. And in the gold match, he took the upper hand over the promising Belarusian wrestler, Alexander Karelin.
Look at Sadulaev. I think that knee is healthy. The 3-1 European champ.
Then Rashid went to the European Games in Minsk. All 15 fighters were preparing for Tank, but once again, no one managed to resist in front of him. For the whole tournament, Sadulaev did not give a single point and once again climbed to the top of the pedestal. It was time for the World Championship, which this time was held in Nur Sultan. The whole world of wrestling was anticipating the third clash between Sadulaev and Snyder. However, Tank made it to the finals, but Snyderman did not. Sharif Sharifov stopped him in the semifinals. As a result, Abdulrashid met his fellow countryman again. Sharifov tried to stop Tank for the third time, but again failed.
Here is Sadulaev with a shot off the whistle into a sit-out position. No points yet. There's two.
Sadulaev confirmed the title of world champion.
Missed some time early in 2009.
It was 2020, the year of the Olympic Games in Tokyo. But due to the pandemic, the competition was postponed for exactly 12 months. During this time, Abdulrashid won the Russian championship.
Yep.
And then conquered the European Championship in Rome.
Predicted is Sadulaev easily.
And left no chance to anyone at the World Cup in Belgrade.
And once again, Sadulaev
The Russian tank.
Rashid approached the Olympics on a streak of 50 consecutive victories and was in great shape. But before the tournament, he seriously injured his knee. With this injury, Sadulaev was unable to perform even the most basic passes, but missing the games was out of the question. As soon as Rashid stepped on the Olympic carpet, it was obvious that it was difficult for him to fight at full strength, but this had no effect on his will to win. In the first stage, Sadulaev defeated the same Sharif Sharifov. And in 1/4 stage, he passed Georgian wrestler Ilyas Adikadze. In the semifinals, he came up against his old acquaintance Rainer Salas, and this time beat the Cuban with the score 4-0. Before the start of the Olympics, the whole wrestling world was still waiting for the third fight between Sadulaev and Snyder. For the third year, their paths had not crossed, but finally, all the stars aligned. The Tank versus Snyderman trilogy, and at stake was the highest award in world sport, an Olympic gold medal. It was the biggest fight in modern wrestling history. Snyder immediately went into hard pressing. But there was no panic on Sadulaev's part. And then, he pushed the American off the mat. At the start of the second period, Snyderman goes for a pass. But Sadulaev counterattacks and takes 2 points. The frustrated American rushes to win, but gets caught on the back belt again. The score is heading for a rout. But Snyder's not one to give up. He continues to attack and scores 3 points in a row. With 30 seconds left in the fight, the score is 6-3, and Snyder goes for one last assault. But Sadulaev holds on until the very end. In the most important match of his career, Abdulrashid defeats his principal opponent and becomes the new Olympic champion in the weight category up to 97 kilograms. It is hard to imagine, but due to injury, he did not make a single leg pass during the whole tournament. But once again, he proved that he has no equal. For this victory and his former merits, Sadulaev was appointed the flag bearer of the entire Russian national team at the closing ceremony of the Games, becoming the first wrestler in the last 25 years to receive the right to carry the flag of the Olympic team. Abdulrashid won his next Olympic gold medal, but he was not going to relax as before. 2 months after the Tokyo Olympics, the Oslo World Championships were scheduled. Sadulaev was the only one of the entire Olympic team who, after such a short period of time, volunteered to go to Norway for the championship. Rashid, in one breath, reached the final, where none other than Kyle Snyder was waiting for him. The first minutes of the fight were scouting, but then the fighters got involved.
Chest trap.
Near the edge, and Snyder.
Sadulaev gets a point for his activity, and Snyderman can't find a gap in the tank armor. In the second period, the Russian fighter takes another point for pressing, and then instantly goes to the body and lands a crowning knockout.
And he will turn Snyder over.
Snyder tries to work something out, but all to no avail.
To win Olympic gold. World calls him the greatest wrestler pound for pound, and he has put it on full display here in the spotlight in Oslo.
He needed an attack. He got an attack. That's why he is the best in the world.
Sadulaev wins 6-0 and retains his world title. Today, Abdulrashid Sadulaev is 27 years old, and he is already a 2-time Olympic champion and 5-time world champion. In 7 years in the big sport, Tank has more than 100 victories and suffered only one official defeat, which he completely rematched. Sadulaev is now wrestling's biggest star and the best wrestler of the last decade. He has already found a place in the cohort of the greats, but he has many more years of fighting ahead of him, which will determine his true place in the history of world sport. all the more reason to strive for it. However, despite Abdulrashid's incredible achievements and his status as one of the few stars in amateur wrestling, his frustration with the politics of the sport and uncontrollable failures have become apparent in recent years. In September 2023, he competed at the World Championships in Belgrade, Serbia. But in the quarterfinals, he lost to his clubmate Ahmed Tajudinov, representing Bahrain.
Go behind. I don't think I would ever have said that about watching a Sadulaev match.
Yeah, clearly not the same Sadulaev from the last time we saw him, and now he is down and setup. I'm not sure what the situation is here with him, but the medical staff is out taking a look at him.
The match was stopped at a score of 2-9 due to Sadulaev's neck injury, leading to his withdrawal from the tournament. This loss was Abdulrashid Sadulaev's first defeat since 2017. On April 3, 2024, the International Olympic Committee did not allow Sadulaev to participate in the qualifying tournament for the 2024 Summer Olympics. This created numerous rumors about Abdulrashid possibly continuing his athletic career in MMA. The world of mixed martial arts has yet to see such a powerful and technical heavyweight. How do you think Sadulaev would perform in MMA or even the UFC? While you write your comment, on April 27th, in the final of the Russian Championship held in the city of Odintsovo, Moscow region, he defeated Alikan Jabrailov and secured a spot to participate in the Paris Olympics. If you like the video and you want to see and hear stories about other outstanding fighters, don't forget to like and subscribe. About other outstanding fighters, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Strong Abdulrashid, his name and the mat is where he belongs. At 25 he won it all, the strongest of his time. With every match he stood so tall, his legacy will shine. From ordinary roots to greatness he ascends, the journey of a warrior whose story never ends. Abdulrashid, the tank, a name we'll always know. From Dagestani to glory, he's a legend.